English translation, 253 contact. Wednesday, 1st November, 1995, 1737 hours.
Hello, I come to you on behalf of Ishwish Ptah, and I am supposed to give you some information. My name is Florina.
Oh, I am sorry. I was tired and just got some sleep. Of course, you announced yourself a few hours ago. Your name is Florina. What does that name mean? You are also very young. May I also know your age?
My name means the flowering one. My age? I will become 162 years old in December.
Young and pretty, and still more than 100 years older than me. But tell me, why do you speak the German language, and since when have you mastered it?
I have only mastered the language for 6 months. I learned it during the months of April and May when I applied for the task of possibly being a connecting member with you if this is not possible by other personnel. As you can see, I was chosen for the task, but it is connected with other tasks, which are usually limited to control and transmission functions, as well as certain other things. And since I have to be able to speak German in a connective link with you, I learned it, of course.
And you have an excellent command of it. But why do you come here?
Ptah instructed us, that is to say our two groups who carry out the monitoring flights around the Earth known to you, to clarify certain things in which you are interested. Ptah could not do this himself, and could not come here, because he has been in the DAL universe for quite some time, and until next year, where he is trying to make an important technical innovation.
I know. This is the latest travel and transport possibility through a direct transmission through the so-called transmission gates.
Yes, that is the reason. Apparently he informed you about it.
Of course, we have no secrets from each other.
You are very good friends.
Yes, that is true. But may I ask if this is an official visit and therefore an official contact or an unofficial one?
In this regard, Ptah has instructed me to explain to you that it is entirely at your discretion whether you wish to treat our visits and conversations as official or unofficial in the future. So, you shall decide for yourself.
Then I will keep it like this, that I treat all those contacts that contain information that is also interesting or important for the group members and other people as official ones. I treat purely private contacts that do not contain information of an important nature as unofficial. But now tell me, what information do you have for me today?
One of your questions related to MW in America and what to expect from him. The following in this regard. According to your statements and questions, we have spent 17 days making a lot of effort to find this person, and unfortunately, we have had to find out that he has a very strong and unrestrained tendency to power addiction. From these factors, the wish built up in him in a powerful form to gather his own group around him in America, which he wants to steer and control according to his own rules and laws. Everything should be based on your teaching as well as on our existence and our statements, etc. In this respect, he has already taken steps, as well as in the respect that he has already influenced and bound several people of the California study group in such a manner that some of them have already become dependent on him, and are also willing to move with him to another place where he is disposed to rule over them. Consequently, it is appropriate that all those already attached to him be addressed and warned that they will not allow themselves to continue to be lulled in by him, but will remain master of themselves and will not sell their assets, as some have already envisaged, in order to move with the proceeds and with this man to another place. If this were to happen anyway, then it is to be feared that a sect will emerge from such a group, which will be ruled in slavish form by the laws and rules of MW. You should tell this to your confidants in America who lead the California study group there. From them, the necessary information shall then be passed on to the members, and everything necessary shall be done to prevent the evil.
Statement by Ptah dated 27.1. 2005. This matter has been dealt with and resolved by Figu, Switzerland, thus preventing the damage. In the course of the years, it turned out that reason gained a foothold after all, and that the FIGU USA was the result of it all.
Then I will write down the report as soon as possible and pass on the information immediately.
I will also try to make sure that you can make your notes this night. But now to your further questions. Regarding Meier, we also checked all things and came to the same result as Ta. Her book, which I hereby bring back to you, is a work of her exaggerated imagination and confused thoughts. It has no meaning whatsoever in the form that it contains messages of any extraterrestrial, dimensional, or otherwise dimensioned intelligence. The whole work is the sole product of the personality of this woman, who has unfortunately also fallen into confused thoughts, which she mistakenly interprets as thoughts and inspirations of others and mainly extraterrestrial or spiritual beings.
That is exactly what Ta said, but you said that too. But what about the Roswell film that supposedly shows an autopsy of an alien being?
We could not find any evidence that a Jack Barnett or Jack Barrett, as Ray Santilli first really called the man, existed or actually shot the film. We even took the trouble to go back to the time of the crash and look for the place, but the facts there were quite different from those shown in the film. There was also no photographer or cameraman by the name of Jack Barrett present, who would have filmed and stolen several film reels. Photographic and cinematographic shots were probably taken, but Army members and Secret Service personnel were responsible for this, delivering all relevant material to the responsible authorities. According to our investigations, the film is an infamous forgery that leaves nothing to be desired in terms of tastelessness, because a 16-year-old girl was irreverently and criminally abused as a model after she died of her illness, which defaced her. Unfortunately, I am not well versed enough in medical art, but Ta can explain more about it to you when he visits you again. One of his professions is that of a doctor.
I know, yes. I will wait until he comes back. But thanks to you and all the others for your efforts. But what about the Pope? Is he now a believer in God, and does he believe in all that he preaches?
Ptah mentioned that only you could think of such a question, and this may actually be true, because from ourselves, which we sorted out, there never came a thought with this man that he could be other than he pretends. Our investigations of the last 2 weeks, however, have clearly resulted in the fact that the alleged representative of God believes neither in the existence of a God above himself, nor in the religious insanity that he preaches. This man believes only in himself, as did also many of the previous popes, as we likewise endeavored to clear up for ourselves through travels into the past to the places of the respective events. It proved to be about them, that a certain small number of only precisely 36 popes believed in a God above them, whereas all others only considered it for its post and position of power for themselves. Quite a few among them, in fact, completely rejected the Christian faith, which they outwardly, of course, knew to conceal.
Aha! Then therefore I was correct with my suspicion.
That was the information which I had to bring to you. Now I have to go. Goodbye. I will certainly visit you again, even if I do not have to bring you information.
You are always affectionately welcomed here, and so is everyone else you are here with.
We have all been here a few times during the last beautiful days to walk around a bit. You really have it very nice here. Ta and Quetzal told me that you prepared, built, planted, repaired, and beautified everything yourself. That took a lot of work.
I guess you can say that. Often we worked day and night. But today it is not like that anymore. Only Andreas often works until midnight or into the early hours of the morning.
We have often observed him when he does his work alone, when everyone else is asleep except you and him. Besides the night watch, you two are the only ones who work so long. Andreas is a particularly diligent man.
You have hit the nail on the head.
Of course, Wolfgang also does his work. He is also very diligent. The others also do their work, but not in the same manner as Andreas and Wolfgang, to which we have to include Freddy at times, when he works late into the night in the workshop. Andreas and Wolfgang stand out among all of them.
You seem to have watched us very closely.
We did, yes, because we wanted to get to know you all. And since we recognized your initiative, it was a special pleasure for us to be able to observe you again and again on the center's premises.
I see. And you have been to my office and Eva's office several times, have you not? Because Ava has noticed something.
Yes, we took our freedom. I do not want to hide that. We feel very comfortable in your and Eva's workroom. Ta also told us that we are allowed to stay in these two rooms, because the swinging waves are harmless for us, and because you certainly have nothing against it. Unfortunately, we can only rarely stay in these two working rooms because you usually work until the early hours of the morning. So we can normally only enter the rooms after 3 in the morning or even later, or when you go shopping on Tuesday and Friday afternoons.
What are you doing in our offices? Do you also listen to music like Ptah or Quetzal?
That is so, yes. You have a lot of nice music, and Ptah explained to us how we have to operate the devices.
Fine, I am happy that you like it here with us. May I ask you now if Ptah has clarified things because of Piero? Ptah explained to me that Piero might also be up for election at the next board election in 1998, but that some things had to be clarified first, so we had to ask at the Arahat Athersata level.
Yes, it is good that you ask after it, because this matter was no longer present to me. So listen then, Piero Patrizio has a provision as an optional board member. Together with Christian Freiner, Philia Stauber, Barbara Harnish, and Edith Beldy, when another board member has to be elected after the election of the vice president. However, he is also deemed to be a permanent member of the board in replacement of Guido Moosbrugger if he does not wish to continue his office or if he should resign due to a departure.
And what about the proxy board members?
These are to be determined first and foremost from those who are also optionally available as determining board members. Further missing personnel are to be selected from the remaining group. In the group of elective members, there is one more member to be considered, as Ptah's clarifications have shown, and that is Hans-Georg Lanzendorfer, who must be assigned to the elective ordinary members of the board.
Then there are a total of 6. Christian Freiner, Philia Stauber, Barbara Harnish, Edith Beldy, Piero Patrizio, and Hans-Georg Lanzendorfer. Does the order play a role in this optional combination or not? In my opinion, equal rights should prevail.
You think correctly?
I suggested to Ptah that for this purpose, the group should decide unanimously that the election process should be carried out at the appropriate time by a simple majority of all group members present, in a concealed form, that is to say anonymously or by neutral ballot papers, so to speak.
I was informed of this by Ptah, who thought your proposal was good and also passed it on to the Arahat Athersata level, which also agrees with your proposal and explained that the same form should be retained for later elections when they become due again from the year 2018.
Then one more question. Can you give me some information about the first creation of creation and tell me whether there was only one creation in the first place or whether there were several of them?
I am not familiar with this knowledge because it concerns the field of the Ishrisha and Ishrishs, so you have to ask Ptah about it.
That I will do.
Then I have to leave again. Goodbye.
Goodbye.